Today we're talking about storytelling, because if you want your fishing content to perform better, you have to learn how to tell the story better while you're living it. In this video, I'm going to show you why the best fishing creators aren't just filming a day on the water. They're capturing a story in real time. Welcome to the Fishing Channel Lab, where I analyze what the biggest YouTube educators are teaching and apply it to fishing creators just like you. Now, before we get into how to tell the story better, we need to clear out 3 big misconceptions that hold fishing creators back every day. Number 1, you need a crazy fishing day to tell a good story. A lot of creators think if they didn't catch a giant, break a personal best, or have something wild happen, there's no story there. But that's not true, because the story isn't just in the size of the fish, it's in the shift, the change, the moment something clicks. Sometimes the story isn't a 10-pound bass, it's the spot you almost left, the bait you almost didn't pick up, the small clue that changed the whole day. Number 2, storytelling is fluff, the fishing is what really matters. This is where a lot of fishing creators get stuck. They think as long as I show the catch, the video works. But the catch by itself doesn't always carry the video. What makes people stay is the buildup, the question, the tension, the payoff. The story is what makes the fishing moment hit harder. It's not fluff, it's the glue. Number 3, storytelling is only for creators who are naturally funny, loud, or entertaining. But that's not true either. Great storytelling isn't about having a big personality. It's about knowing what moment to notice, what detail to share, how to help the viewer feel while it matters. Some of the best fishing creators aren't the loudest on camera. They're just better at seeing the story while it's happening. So if you've been thinking, I don't have big enough days, or I'm not entertaining enough, or I just need to show more fish, that's exactly what we're fixing here. And this shift changes everything. Because the moment you realize you're not just filming a fishing day, you're living inside of a story real time, you start creating differently. You stop thinking like somebody who's just capturing random clips. And you start thinking like somebody tracking tension, change, decisions. That's what a story is. It's not just about a big fish. It's not just about a crazy catch. It's the movement from one moment to another. We start the day thinking one thing, then something changes. The water looks different, the wind shifts. The bait isn't working, we miss a fish. We notice a clue, we make a change. And now the day starts telling us a different story. And this is exactly where most fishing creators lose the story. Not because nothing interesting happened, not because the day was dead, but because they don't recognize which moments are actually doing the heavy lifting. They wait for the catch, they wait for the confirmation. They wait for the big moment to prove that something worth filming is happening. But by then, the best part is already gone. Because the story isn't only in the catch, it's in the question, the adjustment, the uncertainty. The moment you say, we've been doing this for 2 hours and it's just not happening. We need to change something. That's the story. The story is when you pull up to a spot thinking it's going to produce and it doesn't. The story is when you notice the birds catching bait fish on one bank but not the other. The story is when you downsize, when you speed up, slow down, move shallow, back off deep. And if you don't see that, you're filming too late. You're talking too little. You're skipping the moments that actually make the story work. The story is the gap between what you expected and what the water actually gave you. And the best part is, when you understand that you're in the story while you're recording it, you naturally start doing 3 things better. First, you start capturing the decision points, not just the results. Instead of only turning the camera on when a fish bites, you turn it on when you're thinking, when you're doubting, when you're explaining the change, when you say, I think they're setting up different today. And this is a huge part of it. You have to start giving the viewer the moment through the 5 senses, and then the 6th, emotion. What did you see, hear, smell? What did the air or the water taste like? What did you feel in your hands, your feet, your body? And most importantly, what were you feeling in that moment? Sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and the sixth emotion. That's how you take a viewer from just watching the day to feeling like they're in the boat with you. So instead of saying it was cold and the bite was tough, you could say the wind is cutting across the point. My hands are numb on the reel. I can hear the loons calling back and forth in the distance. I can smell the cold, wet air coming off the water. There's that dry, metallic taste in my mouth. And after 2 hours without a clean bite, I can feel the frustration starting to speed me up. Now the viewer can feel it. Now they're inside of it. Second, you start narrating the tension in real time. You stop talking like somebody who's summarizing the day later. And you start talking like somebody who's living it now. Not we ended up catching them on a jerk bait, but we've tried 2 moving baits. Nothing's happening. This wind is starting to push harder on this bank, so I'm picking up a jerk bait next. That feels different because it is different. Now the viewer isn't just watching the day, they're moving through the day with you. Third, you start understanding that the payoff only works if we feel the buildup. A big fish means more when we saw the process. A pattern means more when we saw the confusion before the clarity. A hook set means more when we felt the dry spell before it. That's why some fishing videos feel flat even when they have a good fish in them. They show the outcome, but they don't let us live the story. And this is the part where it has to become practical. Because once you understand that the story is happening before the catch, you have to film different. You have to turn the camera on earlier. You have to talk a little sooner. You have to start capturing the thought process and not just the proof that the thought was right. Because if you wait until the fish is in the boat, you miss the part that made the moment better. So now you're not just looking for the catch, you're looking for the turn, the clue, the decision, the moment you almost didn't notice. And when you feel one of those happening, that's your cue to start talking. Not after, but during. That's when you say what you're seeing, what you think it means, what you're going to try next. Because the best fishing creators don't just film results, they film recognition, they film interpretation, they film the moment the day starts making sense. And that's what changes the video. Capturing the moment is only half the job. Because it's not enough to just show what happened. You have to help the viewer understand why it mattered. That's why I love the way Vin Jiang said it. The reason I'm telling you this is because. That line is the bridge. It takes a moment and it turns it into meaning. Because without that part, a story can still be interesting, but it doesn't become useful. And for fishing creators, that's everything. Because the viewer doesn't just want to see what happened to you. They want to know why it matters to them. So it's not just, hey, we finally got one. It's the reason I'm telling you this is because we almost left this bank too early. Or the reason I'm telling you this is because the wind shift changed everything. Or the reason I'm telling you this is because the clue was there before the bite ever happened. That's the shift. Now it's not just a fish catch, now it's a lesson. A takeaway, a reason to remember the moment. Because when you say why you're telling them this, you're not just showing them the day, you're helping them learn from it. And that's what makes the story stick. So the next time you're out filming a fishing trip, don't ask yourself, how do I tell a story about this later? Ask yourself, what story am I inside of right now? What's the problem? What's changing? What am I noticing? What decision matters next? And what did this moment look like? What did it sound like? How did it feel? What emotion was running through me when it was happening? That matters for fishing creators because the ones who grow aren't just better anglers, they're better at turning a day on the water into a journey the viewer can feel. And once you start filming from that place, your content gets sharper, your commentary gets better, your edits get cleaner, and your videos stop feeling like random clips of a trip and start feeling like a story people want to stay with until the end.